The old and the new, David Neitz, captain of Melbourne, and Sam Mitchell, the new captain for the Hawks. His first official game, home and away as captain. Sam Mitchell loses the toss, and David Neitz, what a career he's had. 301 games, 628 goals, and he wins the toss. Down on the boundary line, another champion, Lee Colbert.
G'day, Dwayne. Thanks very much. The start all important today, boys, because there's plenty of rain around. CBs, isolated thunderstorms, so the start also important. Don't forget, there's also a little bit of wind that's going to blow from the north, so it'll be left of screen towards the punt road end. Back to you, lads.
Thanks, Colby. There was a little bit of rain, drizzle, about an hour or so ago, but that has subsided. And speaking of firsts, of course, Dean Bailey in his first game as the coach of the Melbourne Football Club.
Looks
Lance
like
Franklin.
The Carroll-Franklin matchup.
And Brad Green on the wing, I think, is a player that Dean Bailey needs to get the very best out of. Here's some major matchups, and Crow desperate to get on to Neitz. Birchall looking to get on to Johnson. They're playing fairly tall. The Demons trying to stretch the Hawks.
And Carroll with the big job on Lance Franklin, who's yet to kick a bag of goals against Melbourne.
Davey Ford on Guerra.
And Taylor and White to go at it in the ruck. Season 2008 underway for these two teams finally. They've had to wait around for a couple of days, and we'll get a restart still inside the centre circle.
The other end of the ground, Nathan Carroll on Buddy Franklin. And Miller is with Boyle. So Roughhead out to centre half forward.
Young, Tuck, Campbell and Stokes in his first game for the Hawks on the bench. Rioli starting on the ground in his first game for the Hawks, and there he is in the 33, diving in to get a touch of the leather.
Isn't it one of the greatest things about footy that somebody like a Cyril Rioli can burst on the scene, as Adam Uze may have done about 12 years ago for Melbourne, and just electrify, well, certainly Hawthorn fans, and I reckon Melbourne fans when he's not playing against the Demons.
McDonald gets the clearance, rolls it toward the boundary line though. Chance Bateman, speaking of great Indigenous players, he'll become the first Hawk to play 100 games as an Indigenous representative of this club. First ever Indigenous player to do that in a couple of weeks' time, Chance Bateman. This is game number 97. Jones, wrapped up by Ellis, wearing the number 8 with the retirement of Jacobs last week. Newton, dumped by Ladson, good tackle. Umpire will ball it up.
It's a major matchup, I think, with the omission of Hodge and Lewis, etc. Bateman, Chance Bateman is, I think, a pivotal player for the Hawks, and a major job for young Garland, Colin Garland of the Demons.
McDonald swings it around the body. Neitz, Crowd, Neitz still alive. And now out of play.
Strong contest there with David Neitz and Trent Crow, two very big bodies, and you'll see that throughout the day. Be going long to Neitz, a lot of pressure on Crow deep.
Quick ball in, White had to stretch, knocks it down to Jones. He snaps! And Nathan Jones misses.
Well, it's a good news story, Nathan Jones. Evidently him and McLean, Brock McLean, have been inspiring each other on the training track. We know McLean's had a interesting pre-season, but I'm sure he'll move on from that and become a fantastic player for this club. But Nathan Jones was one of the finds of the year last season.
This is where the Hawks were very good last year, hitting the short targets and getting players out into space. Once again, they've opened up.
Stuart Dew is like a kid again at his new club. First kick, though, for Hawthorn, smothered, gets another chance. Shoots the handball out. Murphy, and now Roughhead gets back. Rioli couldn't grab it, Roughhead does. He swings it around the body. Post, he hits the post.
Looks so dangerous, and certainly all throughout last season, the ability of Hawthorn to go into their forward 50 when rebounding out of their defensive half is extraordinary. They're best in the competition at doing that. They use the ball precisely and usually short. On that occasion, just weren't quite able to get it through the goals.
Well, Cameron Bruce looks up and you can just see one Melbourne player. Shouldn't have been able to sneak forward like that, Nathan Carroll, but there's a sea of Hawthorn players, and inevitably they have to cross the ground.
And they got space here now.
So the pop-up from Garland. Buckley. And now to the outer side to Green.
Davies.
So Aaron Davey on the move, gets there, takes the mark. Holds it up.
Rick Latson chasing Davies, albeit 30 metres behind on that occasion.
White to Bruce. Good movement this. He has McDonald. Didn't see him. Goes to Jones. He's still got McDonald out wide. Screaming for it still. He goes longer to Newton. Pocket, flies. Can't take this one. And he's known for taking some big ones. Gillum brought down by Newton. Umpire says, I'll have it.
Well, it was a poor miss, Lynchy. But at the end of the day, though, he followed it up with something even more important. I think that was the aggressive tackle. He had this one. He should have swallowed that. That was a goal-scoring opportunity. But he did butter up pretty well with a tackle.
White and Johnson tried to slap it inboard. Taylor, the opposition ruckman, gets the takeaway to Ellis. As I said, wearing the number 8 after wearing 32 last couple of years, and of course in the pre-season games in the Ned Cup this year. Osborne down the corridor. Sees the lead again, this time Boyle.
Good movement from Hawthorn.
Good reach.
Boyle runs inside 50. He can nail the first. Very accurate kick. It's on the board.
And that was great transition. As just touched on a minute ago, Hawthorn, there's no better in the competition at rebound out of their defensive 50 and getting into a shot on goal situation. And that was a good reach, a very good grab by Boyle. The problem was Garland just overcommitted and has gone past the man on the mark. So instead of having a shot from 50 metres out, it was a play-on situation and a pretty easy shot on goal from 35. Good goal to Boyle, 7 points up, Hawthorn. Have a look here, just
Trent Crowe.
Trent Crowe's gone down and a bit of an injury, might have fallen on his arm there. The strong tackle, as you'll see throughout the day from the Hawthorn defenders on David Neitz.
So we'll keep an eye on Trent Crowe. He's not on Neitz at the moment from the ball up. Taylor against White. Taylor tries to mop it up. Ellis.
Look it out, get it out.
He heard the umpire tell him to get it out, but it was probably in his best interest to keep it in. Ball up.
Well, we can now go down to the boundary line to find out what is happening with Trent Crowe. Lee Colbert.
Yeah, he came straight off, boys, straight up the race. Looks like his wrist, left wrist, so not great news, and it was in that tackle. David Neitz landed on his left wrist.
And all of a sudden, the Demons forward line looks more potent with the loss of Crowe. They're so tall down there.
Robert Campbell's gone back onto Neitz.
Rioli to Franklin, that's not so good, although it's okay to Jew now. Dishes it up, and Osborne around the body are behind. Golden opportunity missed by Michael Osborne.
Very important player for Trent Crowe. Have a look there, in a fair amount of pain, has gone straight from the ground. He knows he's done some pretty good damage to that arm, but he holds the back line together. Some real muscle.
I think that's the same wrist. He injured it 2 years ago, 2006, missed a number of games because of a wrist injury. That might be the same one.
Big test for Campbell now.
McDonald inside 50. Spoil on Robertson. Ball knocked towards Newton. Little nudge in the back. Taylor, been lively early. Gets the handball away just in time. Sewell, best and fairest winner last year. Important man now to Ellis. Guerra. Osborne. Jew runs on.
That's good running from Jew, actually. He ran from about 60 or 70 metres to find some space.
And that's a beautiful pass to Franklin. Can't half volley it. Jones. Buckley. Hunted down by Rioli. Garland. Initial fumble.
Well done, Franklin.
And a free has been found.
Yeah.
It will go to Garland.
Not a lot in that, just a little high and a bit of a spray to the umpire, and that's what the coach doesn't like. I was going to say, Alistair Clarkson wouldn't be too disappointed with the tackling intensity. Short, free kick was given away for high, but coaches do not like that at all. The back chat, just a soft 50-metre penalty.
Adamuze onto the ground. Aaron Davey gets a breather, and rotations are going to be the word of the year, I think.
Garland to Johnson. Uze. Only the 8 games last year from Adamuze. Thumps it long. Neitz dragged off it. Ball up. It's good to see Adamuze back for round 1 and hopefully another big season. 8 games last year after 226 in a row. Up until that break last year. Dropped for poor form. White slaps it down. Guerra missed it. Birchall doesn't. Sewell. Mitchell. New captain finds Gillum on the bounce. Back to Mitchell. That's what happens when you handball poorly. You get it back normally. That's your reward. Tim Clark, late inclusion for the Hawks today, with Williams, Mark Williams, unable to take his place. And here's Rioli. The excitement machine just backward of the wing.
Right now, Junior McDonald is running with him. This is a fair accolade.
Clinton Young to Taylor. He can go all the way here. Take some time. poetry in slow motion. Kicks the goal.
Had to.
He had to. There was Jared Roughhead over the top, was just saying, what about me? But give him a pat on the back on the way past. Good goal, good run out of defence, and just the ability to hit targets is something that we've seen has been a little bit difficult in some of the games in round one so far.
Well, so far the scoreboard dominated by Hawthorn. They've been very impressive and taken most of their chances, but it's been the complete reverse at the other end of the ground. I think Melbourne have set up enough opportunities for shots. In fact, they've gone inside their forward 50 only on one less occasion, yet they haven't had the system or haven't been able to create a genuine shot at the goal.
Hasn't been a lot of movement for the Demon forwards as yet. It's been a lot bombed long to a big pack.
In fact, all of Hawthorn's score, I think, have come from just flow from deep in defence.
So Taylor resting forward, Roughhead into the ruck against White. Rioli beautifully to Sewell. And now White to Franklin, almost over the top of Carroll. Magnificent tackle.
Just a bit high. I think he was a little bit high early. Thought the umpire was blindsided and was going to get away with it. Let's just have another look at the man with the interesting haircut. Just a little bit high.
Across the shoulder there.
Bit stiff.
That's probably one each way for Buddy Franklin. Gave away the free kick just a couple of minutes ago for a high tackle.
Yet to kick a bag against Melbourne. Just the one goal in the corresponding game last year. They only met once last year, these two teams, and it was here during Easter in round 2. Franklin kicked one. He's going for his first. Low trajectory. Cut off by Miller. Maloney, Jones. Well, bouncing ball, Pettit. Good to see him back after a punctured lung last year. This is his first game back since then. Bruce.
It's good flow, though, from Melbourne. I mean, I had a look at the Dockers yesterday, Ellister. I don't think they ever had in any successive play 4 possessions that weren't interrupted by a clanger. So Melbourne at 15th or 14th last year, it's a good result.
Saw the Melbourne bench, and not on the bench after starting on the bench, Carl Morton. His first touch a little wayward though it was. Good to see Carl Morton in his debut game. Picked 4 in last year's draft. White. You heard the call. This is Johnson. Kick smothered Davey. Had half of it. Maloney. Sewell. Campbell. Gillum. Guerra.
Here they go again. They're spreading so well, the Hawks. There's big numbers just pushing to all dimensions of the ground into space.
Murphy, Birchall, Bateman. And an open forward line. He can load up long if he wants to, Chance Bateman. He's got a couple of one-on-ones ahead.
That's the one you don't want, though, because it gives players time to get back for Melbourne.
Nice kick in the end. Travis Tuck in just his second game for the Hawks. He sends the long bomb in the Franklin direction. There's a one-on-one you do want.
That's a great reach. Fantastic body work. It looked like Carroll had reasonable position on that instance and had Franklin maybe under the ball, but that's great reach from a 6'5" man. Put the arms up and very tough to beat. Carroll just seems to get him just off the balance, but in the end, great catch.
Probably hoping Miller would come over the top. Lance Franklin gets his first. Hawks on a roll.
That certainly is something that the Melbourne defence have to be conscious of. If there is a ball that's going to travel 50 metres and high, you've got to be prepared to leave your man and help out a defender like Carroll on a gun forward like Buddy Franklin. So it's gone long. Someone needs to leave their opponent and get over the back. Miller probably had to go. Actually, he definitely did have to go and get a punch and clear the ball.
Another goal, though, from deep in defence for the Hawks. Melbourne's forwards just not being able to keep the ball in or get it on the board at the moment.
73 goals, 62 last year, Lance Franklin. Including a couple of massive bags. Of course, 9 against Essendon here at the MCG in round 6. Free kick off the ball, goes to Osborne. Hawks into attack. Franklin, had it. Carroll finds the boundary. There's that hairdo. Nathan Carroll only grew that handlebar moustache to stir his mother. That was the only reason he grew it, and the players said they liked it, and he's kept it ever since. From the ball in, Maloney. This is Pettit. And Brett Maloney gets the free. Watched his old team win the flag last year. Another sliding doors kind of story. Brett Maloney comes to Melbourne, a club that he followed as a kid. Watches his old team wins the flag last year in awesome style. With Brad Ottens, of course, the man they got through swapping him. Uze.
We've had 36 possessions and are yet to hit the scoreboard. Hawthorn 49 possession. They've got 3-2.
Gee, Morton was called out the first game. It tried to do the right thing, Carl Morton, but probably should have been called in rather than called out. Osborne to Mitchell.
Here they go.
Numbers everywhere.
Taylor, he's having a party at the moment. Little fumble by Ellis. About to get run down by Neitz. Great chase, the captain.
Yeah, got to get quick ball movement here as the Demons players have run into space and they've got an open forward line.
Neitz wide. Davey.
And Hawthorn have probably done enough to hold him up there, so that was good work from the Hawthorn defence.
Hawthorn filled the corridor up, almost content to allow Melbourne wide. Bruce. Yeah, to score the Demons. Just pops it up in hope that Newton can mark back of the pack. Birchall will mop this up. He's got Bateman if he wants him. Wants him. Ellis. Tough half volley, couldn't grab it. Uze. Needs short. Gets through Ellis. Goes longer. Newton's got the run up. Flies. Free kick.
Shepherd. It was there. And Juice Newton will get his opportunity. But once again, the Demons are falling into this Hawthorn trap of kicking the ball long. And they've got the likes of their ruckman dropping back. And with this exception, where the free kick was paid.
He's just paid it for a hand in the back there, actually. Not a lot in it, but that is the rule. Marking contest, you've put a hand on the back of an opponent, you'll pay for that.
Fourth season on the list for Michael Newton. Picked 43 back in 2004. Really did rise last year. Took the mark of the year and misses on cue here.
I think the point, though, Lynch, is they've got to come up with something other than the long bomb to the goal square. It's good to have it there, but they need another player to lead and get it into another option at ground level other than just kicking it to a pack of Hawthorn players.
Yeah, it just seems a little bit predictable. I mean, it certainly is a good fallback plan, but you've got to find some space and players on the lead. As you said, the Hawthorn ruckmen are dropping back in front of David Neitz. Makes it very difficult for the full forward.
Stuart Dew, Port Adelaide Premiership player after a whole year off. His first game back since 2006. Mitchell shrugs the tackle to Birchall. Option wide. Osborne, good leap.
Went early. Managed to hold in the air long enough to take the mark.
Tough one, and a good mark by Wheatra, the first gamer. Isaac Wheatra, second year on the list. First game from Port in the SANFL. Heads toward Robertson, who got a fly but not the mark. McLean to Bruce. Davey in the pocket, it's ignored. Heads long, Newton and Neitz. Newton front, can't mark. Neitz rolls to Davey. Plays for the free, doesn't get it. Robertson tries for the miracle. Doesn't come off. Chance Bateman.
Better by Melbourne, though. At least they had some ground support there with Davey and Robertson at the fall of the ball.
Tough one. Thomas Murphy.
If we go to script here, Hawthorn will have a shot on goal. They've been very efficient at clearing the ball out of the defence.
Birchall, Bateman, Murphy, Bateman. How's that for a pass? Outside of the foot. Rioli.
Oh, that's a free kick.
Boyle gathers the crumb. Free wasn't given. Lance Franklin strolls in. Don't you love him? He's got two.
And that is indicative of the first 15 minutes of this game. It is the flow and run, power running from the half-backs and midfielders of the Hawthorn team to set up a forward 50 entry. And they've got key targets there everywhere that are mobile. Just at the other end, at the moment, the Demons are very stationary and going long.
Lynchy, I'm going to get that for half-time for you to have another look at Cyril Rioli. He looks like Darren Jarman coming through. He's moving a bit quicker. Darren will be pleased with that comparison. The kick, Darren, was similar. No real similarity in the pace, but it was superb. And I think it was Roughhead was a little bit stiff not to get the free kick. Franklin was the recipient.
Dean Bailey on screen. First game as coach, 53 games for Essendon, 60 for Glenelg, and now an AFL coach in his own right. Maloney with the free, kicks it long. Robertson forced to go from behind. Newton should collect this. Swings it around, but not enough. Ladson. Couple of options short. One of them, Tim Clark.
Sorry, Brian. Yeah, continue to use the ball long, but just not getting any effectiveness out of it.
Look out. Bateman, long, rough head, marks.
Yeah, it's all about forward 50 entries. I mean, there's one thing to have the ball go in the forward 50, but when there's no pressure put on midfield ball carriers, it makes it very, very hard for defenders. And I would think that Brad Miller, Nathan Carroll will be pulling what hair they've got out.
Most players had a week off last week. Jared Roughhead didn't, was forced to play for Box Hill, while his teammates enjoyed a week off. Showed some form there. Can't carry it in this week.
Melbourne at the moment, I don't think are that far off it. They just haven't been able to convert down in the front half of the ground. But they look like a side in round one, whereas Hawthorn look like they're a side heading into the finals. They just have been so clean and polished with their skills. It's been a most impressive display in the first 20-odd minutes.
And I think that is the difference. The pressure that's put on the ball carrier forced the Demons ball carriers to kick long and very hard for the forwards, whereas the ability to find space and run hard and a lack of pressure, or perceived lack of pressure from the Demons midfielders to get hold of their man.
Carl Morton on debut has a bounce.
And realistically, he's got nowhere to go here. The Hawthorn players have all pushed across and he cannot go long. He's got to go laterally.
So Ricky Pettit all the way back to Simon Buckley. Hawthorn fans give some boos. Buckley has Bruce short and he's got McDonald longer. He ignores them both, heads toward Johnson. Arm slap by Bateman. Free kick.
That's a pace, Buckley, and a pretty good kick as well.
Chance Bateman.
And 50, and that might bring him within range.
Probably a little bit stiff. He's throwing the ball back high, but usually get away with that one. The free kick was given away. He just nudged his opponent under the ball here. He just saw it.
Gee.
Which is probably the best thing for him to do. He was never going to spoil, so try to get away with that one, but he didn't.
Not sure the umpire would pay that again if he had his time again. Big kick this, Paul Johnson. Edging close to quarter time. Misses the lot.
Free kick to Neitz, is it?
Yeah, it was against Robinson. He just had hands straight into his opponent's back as he was about to launch for a big grab.
So we're into time on opening term. The Demons still yet to get their first goal of the year. Clinton Young. Wide ball. High ball. Well played by Clark. To his own advantage.
Did well.
Brilliantly. He had two Demons on him. And he knew the boundary line was his friend.
I think both players did very well there. One Wheatley for not giving away a free kick. And the other Clark just to keep the ball going forward.
Here's Buckley again. Living his dream. Melbourne fan as a kid, Simon Buckley. Carl Morton also living his dream in game number one. McLean dumped in the back. Lucky.
Very fortunate, I would have thought. But once again, no space, no time for the Melbourne ball carriers.
Brock McLean. Spangs it long. Guerra from 4 deep. Free kick and advantage. Johnson finds McDonald. He sends the long bomb towards the goal square. Almost a throw out. Mark's been paid.
Well, that's the first time, Dwayne, they've been able to get it in quickly, which has allowed one of their tall forwards to compete one out. Generally, they've had to compete against either another defender or the ruckman. We'll take another look at the free. It looked to me to be there, Dwayne.
Yeah, I suppose.
Just took him under the ball a little. But, yeah, it did go long. The only problem is that if the ball did hit the ground, there was only Hawthorn players there. As you touched on, Jared, Melbourne have got to get to the feet of the likes of Newton and David Neitz if they are indeed going to be long.
Couple of errant kicks so far from Newton. This one splits the middle. They're on the board, the Demons. Hallelujah.
Well, it's fair to say they needed that one. We'll just have a look at the free kick there. There wasn't a lot in it, but you've got to be in the right position. But this ball goes very long to the top of the goal square, which is great. Give your man a one-on-one contest. Oof. He did take the mark. Could have been a free kick, but there was no Melbourne players at the front to crumb the ball if it did come to ground.
He was lucky not to give away the free kick.
Just saw Gillam, yeah, slightly thrown out of the road, but realistically, he should have held his feet. But, yeah, Demons, small forwards, got to get to the front, create goal scoring opportunities.
Has a rest for his trouble, as seems to be the modern way.
Cameron Stokes on also for his first run, Dwayne. Exciting player as well.
If you thought Cyril Rioli was good, well, Cameron Stokes was his captain in the Northern Territory under-18 team last year. So he must be even better. Due to Mitchell. Here's Rioli. Tries to run onto this.
They're a good combination.
They might work together here. Stokes to Rioli. And the two Territory boys can't get it inside 50. But good to see them there together. Pat on the back. Teammates as kids and now playing in the big time.
Wouldn't they love this coming down together from the Territory? Great experience.
Well, I believe that the AFL have sponsored a box and it's full of Riolis and Longs, all having a look at Junior, making an exciting debut.
Yes, the ball's taken out. Cyril Rioli, of course, junior boy they call him, from St Mary's up in Darwin, but the nephew of the great Morris Rioli and Michael Long. And Willie Rioli, the brother of Morris, was on Hawthorn's list for a while as well. They've got a great heritage. Kick towards goal. Should be mopped up by Wheatley if he wants to. He allows it through for a behind. So great that the Rioli name can live on. And of course, Cameron Stokes is a cousin of Matthew Stokes, the premiership player at Geelong at the moment. Chip kick towards the wing, dangerous. Cut off by Ladson. Mitchell.
Wouldn't be too hard on Bucker. He's been one of Melbourne's best in this term.
Guerra. Tim Clark takes them on. You know Stuart Dew can load up. Oh, Franklin's in position A here. Takes the mark.
He was certainly in position A. Stewie Dew, and you've got to know the talents of your teammates. Had the ball, so Buddy Franklin took up position deep behind his opponent, and it certainly was the best position to be in. Little nudge, and took an easy mark in the end.
Is he a chance to have a day out today? Lance Franklin misses. Virtually 2 goals, 2 so far this afternoon. 2 goals, 1 behind and 1 that fell just short on the line. Lance Franklin looks in sparkling form.
Stewie Dew's had the 7 touches so far. He's got off to a pretty good start.
Carroll.
Probably run more, given that he walked the Kokoda Trail, or at least walked more than this last 3 months than he has in the last 3 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's good effort. A lot of pressure on him over the summer. Everyone talking about his weight, whether it was a good pick or wasn't a good pick. Now he can just put that behind him, and he's got a good quarter under his belt to start with.
Well, they say he hit 120 kilos, Stuart Dew.
Well, Alistair Clarkson may have saved his life.
Well, Alistair Clarkson coached him both at Port Adelaide as an assistant coach and at Central Districts. Stuart Dew, so he knew him well and knew he could rely on him. He was a man of character. Carroll heads wide to Jones. He kicks smothered by Mitchell. Oh, got a little too excited. Out of play on the fill, gives it back. 1 minute 44 from quarter time. Hawks have owned the term.
It's going to be a really important quarter-time break, I think, for the new coach and the Melbourne footy team. Just to settle, talk to each other, give themselves some positives, and reinforce the fact that this game isn't over, and there's no need to start dropping your head early in the piece.
Davey kept it alive to McDonald, but the kick was sloppy. Sewell, Guerra. Sewell again. And now to the open side, as they like to do. Young's peeling off. All depends on whether Campbell wants to give it to him. He does now. That was a well-measured kick. Young was there for a long while. Now the long bomb inside 50. Boyle a couple to beat. Osmond the crumb. Time to size it up. Hawks are solid. They're looking very, very good.
There's an enormous amount of confidence in the Hawthorn running ability and the ability of their teammates to win a contested ball. And players, as we saw there, Young, he peeled off early and ran out into space on the open side, but he had the confidence that in the defensive half, his teammates were going to win possession and he'd be in space. And the Melbourne opponent were caught spectating a little bit. So great running, great confidence for the Hawthorn players.
Overall, though, you'd have to just say that the biggest area that Melbourne's coach would have to deal with would be work rate. I just don't think they've worked collectively as hard as Hawthorn. Haven't been as polished. Scoreboard probably a fair reflection.
Inside a minute to quarter time. Maloney thumps it on towards half forward. Good attack from Maloney. Second attempt at it. Gets the free and can have a shot.
And I'd suggest that it'd be a good viewing, and we'll just see. Probably look for a pass here short, but it'd be just go short.
It does. Makes it tough for Green. Handball through Pettit's legs. Makes it tough for him. He keeps it alive, and the Hawks might have a last chance to score here. Spearing kick again from Rioli. The ball knocked away from Young. We'll get a ball in. 30 seconds left. Time for a clearance for either side and a score.
It'd be good viewing to sort of see a lot of the ground when the ball's in transition and see how hard the Hawthorn players are working compared to the Melbourne players. A lot seem to be just walking.
Green to Cale Morton. The debutante's handball to Maloney. Didn't quite hit him well enough.
High.
Gee, Jones is caught very high.
Oh, there's a bit happening there too. Off the ball.
Time might beat him unless he bombs it now and they get a mark. Garland. Carroll. Season 2008 is underway for Hawthorn and Melbourne, and it began in the best possible way for the Hawks. Splendid opening term, 5-5, with Lance Franklin, their star, kicking 2 goals. The Demons didn't get on the board with a goal until into time on in the opening term, but they might have settled now. Quarter time at the G, 35 plays 7. Quarter time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, and the Hawks by 28 points. 5-5-35 to Melbourne. 117. Newton, the only goal scorer for the Demons. Franklin with a couple for the Hawks. Down on the boundary line, a man who was a Melbourne star, now working for Hawthorn. Todd Viney is with Lee Colbert.
Thanks, Wayne. Todd, pretty awesome start. That was Electric Hawks from 2007.
Yeah, it was a good start. I mean, to get 10 shots of goals, it's a good effort. You know, we kicked 5-5, so could have been a couple more goals, but no, pretty happy with that start.
And the pressure and intent was also there. I noticed a lot of Demons players were actually thought they were under a lot more pressure than they actually were, so that's sensational.
Yeah, well, we've worked pretty hard on defensive pressure over the pre-season, so it's good to see it in the first round. You expect it to be pretty good in the first round, so no, put them under pressure and hopefully we get a few turnovers in the middle of the ground.
Thanks, mate, against your old foe today.
Thanks, Sleepy. Bye.
And also, boys, Chen Crode actually came off. Nothing worse in your first game for the season. You come off, injure your arm. He's actually gone to hospital, we believe, in an ambulance because he has got a sore wrist, and it is the wrist he's injured in 2006. So extremely disappointing for him because, as you know, 6 months of pre-season and then, you know, round 1, you go out and injure yourself. So let's hope for Trent that it's not as serious as it looks.
I think he knew right from the start that was going to be an injury that was going to worry him for a while. Gentlemen, the match stats to quarter time. These two coaches of Hawthorn and Melbourne did work together at Port Adelaide, of course, a few years ago. They know each other extremely well. Dean Bailey and Alistair Clarkson, and at the moment, Alistair Clarkson, the points.
Probably the main stat that's come up out of that first quarter is the effective disposals. 80 to Hawthorn to only the 64 Melbourne. Just the
Not coming.
and cause turnovers.
28-point lead to the Hawks. Second term about to get underway. White and Taylor. And Taylor again with the honours, down to Sewell. Birchall caught by Davey, shrugs the tackle. Good body strength. Heads toward Rioli. Can't take the mark. First gamer, a little high on Pettit. Ricky Pettit picked 30 back in 2006. Two young players playing on each other up against Cyril Rioli. First of many AFL games. You'd think that's a shocker to Boyle. He's almost within range. Sees Franklin peeling off to the pocket and hits him.
Well, he might miss him in front, but these are generally the ones he has a crack at. But this is even more exciting to see him.
Sewell called Bateman in.
Bot it up and deliver like that.
Great teamwork between them all.
Yep. That was good work from Sewell. As you said, just put his body in between Bateman and the Melbourne opponent that was coming, just to make sure Bateman had an easy mark.
The worrying thing is that it just broke down when Ricky Pettard just didn't find the target. I mean, there was no pressure on him. He wasn't calling to play on, and yet to poke it into a maelstrom almost and see it turned over needs work.
Bateman kicks across the face. Roughhead almost kept it in, a behind. Chance Bateman with another strange hairdo this year. It's like he's auditioning for a role in I Dream of Jeannie. Chip kick from fullback. Good to Bruce. 36 plays, 7. Garland.
Showing you age now, Dwayne, with I Dream of Jeannie.
She stays in your memory for a long time now. Carroll, back pocket.
He's in the bottle for 2,000 years.
50 metres against Lance Franklin. That's his second 50-metre penalty for the evening.
Well, Melbourne's got to get some flow and get it going forward in a hurry. Just haven't seen them link up and get the ball down towards their goal with any speed.
Carroll just pokes it in the Newton direction. Big fly, almost brings it down. Not quite. Wheatley, corralled. Jones.
Geez, they're defending well here, Hawthorn. Absolutely brilliantly the way they're mustering the forces to block up. I guess the yardage forward.
Yeah, it's just their work rate. Have a look at the leap here. We know this man can take a big catch. Good spoil there in the end from Gillam, but yeah, too much of a hit and hope on that occasion for the D's.
McLean slung, got rid of it. Birchall to Taylor, put his head down. Heard the umpire tell him it was good. Birchall, Tim Clark tries to sell the dummy to Wheatley, but Carl Morton coming at him. Chance Bateman can't keep it in. Well played by the youngster Carl Morton in game 1. He's got mum and dad and the brothers here. Noel and Valda flew over from Perth, and the brothers, of course, who are on AFL lists. Mitch on Richmond's list, and Jared, whose emergency for Hawthorn today, almost made his debut, Jared Morton, but didn't make the cut. And we'll get a ball up, still virtually on the wing.
What do you think of the McLean tag on Mitchell? Given that Brock McLean was a ball winner himself for, I guess, the first 2 years of his career.
Yeah, he's a good player to learn from, but there's a free kick.
So Morton thumped it inside 50. Everybody stopped. No one knows who has the free. Some think it's a Melbourne free, some think it's a Hawthorn free.
Yeah, he went against Newton there. He's locked arms and dragged his direct opponent down.
Gillam to Young. Davey came at him. It's been a strange 60 seconds. Bateman. Sewell. Girioli's got some space here. He can run all the way.
Goal coming.
Doesn't want to go all the way himself. Unselfish, Roughhead.
Great tap.
Osman collects. Boyle can kick a straight ball. That across the face. Franklin keeps it in. To Rioli.
Something will happen here.
It's party time at the moment. They're like flies to wanton boys, Melbourne, at the moment. They're just pulling the wings off them, Hawthorn. Roughhead. Ladson. Melbourne might get out of trouble. Morton to Jones. He shrugs the tackle. Kick smothered. Downfield, and Isaac Wheatley, the first gamer, kicks to Uzo.
Well, it was well done there.
Go back to that Rioli one. He could have run 30 or 40 metres directly at goal. That's got to be out of bounds. And I think in time, it's only his first game, in time he will take those opportunities.
But he did the hard work to find the space once again, and there's so many Hawthorn players finding space because they'll run harder and stronger than their Melbourne opponents.
Ball knocked down to Jones. He's wrapped up, and how will the umpire view this? Holding the ball. He needed to swing an arm and make it look as if he was trying to get rid of it. Ellis to Guerra. Franklin calls for it back to the square. High, Roughhead's there waiting for it. Good reach.
Done cold there. Carroll, or Miller it was.
Sam Mitchell's had 9 possessions, and Brock McLean's working his backside off trying to get inside, block, etc., but he's just getting away. And I'm not sure that the Demons wouldn't be better served with him attacking the footy and trying to level Mitchell's output himself.
Just a tap in for Jared Roughhead. And the Hawks start their second term like they finished the first.
Here he is, Brock McLean there. You can see him chasing. But this is a good setup from Brent Guerra. Jared Roughhead, he looks so clean and polished at the moment.
Just a great kick to advantage. Once again, identifying where the drop zone is going to be was the forward. Jared Roughhead was in the back position, but he had 10 metres of space behind him, so that a smart kick to get it over his head, use his body just to take an easy mark in the end.
Never forget that Roughhead was the #1 pick back in that Franklin draft.
And whilst talent.
Franklin is the, well, I guess the unique talent, Roughhead was always going to come as a footballer.
The ball up. Sewell brought down. Carl Morton's looked okay. Finally, McLean a touch to Wheatrop. First gamer gets caught. Run down by Ladson. Knows how quick the game is now. Mitchell played on. McLean. A lifeline here for Melbourne. Neats wide. Robertson doesn't keep it in.
Well, there's some bowling from the Hawthorn supporters, and I think it was line ball. I'm not sure Mitchell had heard the whistle, but if the whistle goes and you anticipate a free kick, you take advantage. Well, the umpires are entitled to give you only one chance.
White and Taylor. Bateman got rid of it, was slung. Jones on the bottom of the pack again. Pushing the back. And it's a Melbourne free, and it goes to Brock McLean.
Demon supporters are happy with that one. Nathan Jones wasn't going to get caught with the ball under him again. Did everything he could to get it out and not be pinned for holding the ball.
Turned 22 years of age a couple of weeks ago. In fact, dropped from the leadership group and asked to show some more maturity on his birthday, ironically enough. After a controversial summer, a couple of indiscretions, but not dropped like Colin Sylvia. And he misses. Colin Sylvia, of course, suspended by the club for this game, not playing, but Hawthorn missing a few as well. Luke Hodge, Shane Crawford, Campbell Brown, Jordan Lewis and Mark Williams, all not playing for the Hawks this afternoon, and they still look magnificent. Clinton Young.
Rioli again, great running.
Rioli's got it too far out to score. Plays on quickly to Franklin. A rough head. Not quite. Still under it. Headed. Helping hand to Maloney. Johnson. Now the chip kick. Garland's terrible kick. Ellis has cut it off.
So disappointing. Brock McLean has worked very hard to get to space out in the wing.
And now Boyle, who, as we mentioned in the opening term and mentioned a few times last year, is a very accurate kick of the ball from a set shot.
I'd reckon every time we said that he missed him. Unfortunately, put it on him, but yeah, it has been a very good shot on goal.
Already has one. Tim Boyle, 32 goals, 25 from his 20 games last year. Starts it a little right and leaves it right. It was all wrong from the moment it left his boot, unfortunately. You're right, Alistair.
It was all wrong from the time you opened your mouth and said he's a great shot on goal. Yeah, we keep dragging him down. Once again, perceived pressure from the Hawks to cause that turnover, to cause a shot on goal. Now, they're running hard here to find space, but once again, turnovers.
Oh. So Daniel Bell, little fumble over the line. He can't make something of it. He needs a big season as well. 6th season for Daniel Bell since coming from Glenelg, and just his 46th game. Morton. Good tackle by Roughhead. Walk Garland down and we'll get a ball up.
And unfortunately, if there are turnovers coming out of that defensive half and the players have run to position, they keep running, the turnovers keep coming, they end up just stopping running, and you've got stationary targets up forward and it doesn't work for anyone.
Maloney ran into Tuck. So Travis Tuck started on the bench. Centering kick, tough one, good fist. Now Newton a chance to pounce here. Sewell got there before him. Newton thought he was going to pick it up. Sewell had the speed to Bateman. chip kick towards half forward. Tough one for Ladson. The 1-2. Bateman. Little poke. Franklin. He can kick them from there.
Great work from Franklin. He had about 3 leads on that occasion. Had to double back a few times as the ball was passed in short, but work rate, multiple leads, eventually a nice pass. Give him a shot on goal, albeit a tough one.
Eyes only for the goals. So no pass options considered. Outside the boundary when he kicks it. And it's across the face, although Roughhead tries to claim it. Gee, Melbourne were lucky there. Had he got away with that, would have been some questions asked of the Melbourne defenders. Turnover almost Franklin from Garland's kick in. It's ugly at the moment for the Demons. Pettit, Bruce,
Nowhere
Carroll.
to go.
Johnson a little short, takes them up. Hands it off again to Bruce. Johnson Green. He's trying to create something. Over the top to Kyle Morton. Little slip. Diving in was Guerra. Knocked it over to Mitchell. His handball missed Sewell. Maloney mops it up. McLean pops it wide to Johnson. Now to Bruce, who can load up from 55 if he wants to. Doesn't. Pass misses the target, was smothered to Mitchell, and he gets the free. 44 plays 8.
Good attack on the ball from Guerra. And Morton will learn from that one.
Mitchell. He sends a long ball, hoping for Campbell. Flies, nets with the spoil, but it's out of play and we'll get a ball in. Yeah, you were kind there, Alistair, but perhaps that kindness is due. First game for Kyle Morton. Taylor slaps it down. Sewell again. Good hip and shoulder by Mitchell on Green. Bruce, he left it behind. McLean. Not a lot to go to. Neats. And here's that thump and hope. Kick towards Newton. He's got 2 to beat. Plays for the free. Doesn't get it. Kyle Morton trying to make amends. And Murphy sees it out of play.
Well, he's working really hard, Brock McLean. He's had twice as many possessions as any other player on the ground for Melbourne in this term. He's trying to lift. He knows he's got the big job on the captain. He's working really manfully to do it.
Birchall brings down Newton. And Grant Birchall, every game last year, permanent fixture in this Hawthorn side now. On the way back to fullback, and Murphy with the poke to Ladson to the open side. They do this so well, Hawthorn. 2 bounces. Can have a third, Ladson, if he wants to. Sees Young ahead. Clinton Young wearing Joel Smith's old number 11 this year and has missed.
And that's the issue for that kid, Young. From just holding him back from taking the next level as a player. More goals on the run. He sets up beautifully. He's a beautiful kick throughout. And it's those finishing skills in and around the 50 that are going to determine how good a player he is.
Headed. Morton. Kick wide. Miller just on the line. Brad Miller, who kicked 3 goals for the Demons when these 2 teams met in their one and only time. Round 2 last year here at the G.
Coming up for his first kick. Is it a quiet start to the game?
Sends it long over Johnson's head. Newton gets back, but he's caught. Collared. No prior opportunity. Umpire forced to ball it up. Umpire Kennedy.
And this, you'd know better than most, but I guess when you're playing those key posts and your side's getting a belting, you're mainly thinking defence, but sometimes you've got to attack to turn the match around. Melbourne has got to find some attack from somewhere.
And even if you get caught with the ball at times, you've probably got to pin the ears back and run and make the forwards move into space.
Sewell to tuck to Osborne. He takes the mark. Boyle calls for it wide in his direction, and he's got it. Franklin's in the goal square. Boyle just pops it up in the Roughhead and Franklin direction. Roughhead got a hand to it. That was enough to keep it alive. Franklin left it behind. Carroll goes to ground, which is dangerous. Bruce. Collard. Garland. Got it out to Morton. He did very well.
Now they should score from here. They've got players in space. Must carry the ball as far as he can and break the 50.
Well, Johnson sees Newton. He's also got Robertson short. And he hits Robertson. He hasn't seen a lot of it so far today.
That was good work. Paul Johnson found some space on the centre wing and was able to hit the target, something that the Demons have really struggled with. A good lead from this man, Russell Robinson.
Just his second possession coming up. Russell Robertson, 16 minutes into this second term, and they're still yet to get a goal for the term, the Demons. Only a behind. Dean Bailey. First game as coach. So far a horror game as coach. The kick in long in the Osborne direction. Newton got a fingernail on it. Back in towards the contest. Roughhead. Dragged down by McLean. Demon fans getting something to cheer at the moment. Brock McLean. Short to Maloney. 53 from goal. Long kick. Goal square. High bomb. And again it's across the face. Another behind.
That kick needs to go to the top of the goal square. Basically, it's shot from the boundary line. That's easily punched through for a point. And points just really hurt the forward half of the team. Hawthorn, like many other teams, are very good at setting up from their kickouts.
Well, here they go again. Twist and turn from Rioli, who got it from Bateman. Gives it to Mitchell. Arm slap. Sam Mitchell's ball.
You'd almost prefer the ball to go out of bounds down in your forward pocket than a point, because it really hurts you with the efficiency of this team to run it from one end of the ground to the other. Get a shot on goal again.
Stuart Dew, and the kick low trajectory. Carroll cuts it off, playing in front spot ahead of Franklin. You heard the call. Play on. Franklin comes at him. No one to go to. He's got Garland short. Uze.
And that's great vision there of how little movement the Demons players are giving their options.
Buckley to Bell to Neitz.
Who's pushed out to the half-forward line. Newton in the square.
Roughhead getting back in defence. Lend a hand. So to Mitchell, back with the flight. Captain's mark.
Great courage. He had no idea how close the leading forward was, but went back very hard.
Young. Gee, they look solid. Osborne flies, can't mark. Stokes held, didn't have it.
This guy's been impressive, really impressive.
That's good. He's backed himself to have a crack.
And he sends it long, hoping for Russell Robertson. Gets a leap. No mark. Murphy. Plenty of players peeling off for him. Roughhead inside 5 minutes now to half-time. And it's looking worse by the minute for the Hawks. Stewart for the Demons. The Hawks looking solid. Dew to Franklin. That's as good as it gets.
How good was that pass? But what about the speed that Lance Franklin was running at to take it in your hands? His opponent wasn't too far away either.
He's done pretty well to be close.
Oh, yeah.
Because he was only just starting to accelerate, Buddy Franklin.
There was a few years ago, you would have had just go the crack on the back of the head, just trying to upset the leading forward, but you can't do that these days.
Runs out. There's that kicking style. Brings it back. In your dreams.
Once again, great transition, and the first 30-minute quarters that we've seen has been about courage. Not only courage like that, but the courage of the Hawthorn players to run hard when they're tired. Stewie Dew, he's been very good in the early stages of this game and his career at Hawthorn. That is outstanding pace. Carroll did all he possibly could, was very close to his opponent, but Lance Franklin and any forward's got that sort of pace, going to be hard to stop. Great conversion.
It's not a copybook kicking style at goal, but if it works...
You wouldn't muck around with it, would you?
7-9 to 1-4.
Just on Buddy, we know he loves running out to the left to kick. But he seems to be much more accurate when he kicks 50. When he tries to poke it only 25-30, sometimes he appears to get a little bit confused as to how far left he should run.
Green, fronts by Stuart Dew. And it'll come back.
There's been a little bit of that this weekend, a little bit of what they term tunnelling in basketball, where a player's legs get taken out.
He didn't take them out deliberately there, though, did he?
No, I don't think it's happening deliberately. There was one with Bolton and Nick Rewald on Saturday night.
Newton with a big fly, but couldn't bring it down again. Rough head to Birchall. Here's Stokes who can run. He holds it up. Gillum.
He's a rookie 2 weeks ago, Stokes. He's come into the side at the right time.
It's been an amazing transformation for his career. Under-18 captain for the Territory last year. Rookie started this year and now playing big-time footy. And here's Rioli. Takes them on this time, Gerard, but leaves the ball behind. Goes back to try and get it. Good wrap-up tackle on Garland. He might beat the 3 of them.
Hope Morris is not having a shout every time he gets near the footy.
Boyle dives back in. Osborne tries to keep it alive. Rioli in there. Hawk fans enjoying this at the moment. Osborne somehow threads out a handball to Sewell, to Young, to Guerra. Uze wraps him up. Somehow got a handball out. And got a push.
Got the free kick there. Everything's going the way of the Hawks at the moment. But managed to get a fist on that and convince the umpire that it was a handball.
Unlucky there, Adam Uze. Although 13 has been lucky for him. More games in the number 13 than any other player in the history of the game.
Good body work.
Franklin again.
That was brilliant. Any young kid coming through wants to see how to use the body in this day and age. This is a classic example, Litchi.
Yeah, it was fantastic. Running side by side with his opponent, but was able to initiate contact. We'll have a look at the free kick here. Guerra gets the ball clear legally, and just a little bit of weight into the back was enough to be a free kick.
Franklin's already had a sighter from that pocket. He's missed one to either side now.
He saves those for finals. Popping them through from that particular spot.
Or the siren goes and it's after the half-time siren. Tough kick in. Made to look okay by Miller. Wheatley. Uze. Well, they've had a horror pre-season, Melbourne. They were absolutely smashed by Geelong at Skilled Stadium in round 1 of the NAB Cup. Geelong will smash a few teams this year, but then a 9-goal loss to North Melbourne a couple of weeks ago showed there were danger signs in that practice match where North Melbourne crunched them as well. And at the moment, the Demons have had a horrible start to the home and away season. 52 plays 10, approaching half-time. White slapped down in the ruck to McDonald. He can't break free. Game 199 for James McDonald. 200th next week. A stellar career. Rough head. Davey just knocked it out towards McLean. And Uze might see the boundary line. Here he does, but he kicked it across.
Things haven't gone too well for Demon players just over the last few minutes. Only scored the 1 goal in the first half of football.
Pettit tries to knock it on, missed the target. Rioli almost manufactured something. Newton. So an open forward line here for the Demons. An opportunity late in this half.
But it's
Johnson.
3-on-1. He has to mark
Neat,
this.
surely flies and holds it. Now needs to finish.
Didn't have a lot of support there. Very good mark from the great captain of the Melbourne Football Club, but just didn't have any support around at his feet. There were Hawthorn players coming hard at the contest if there was a spillage.
Massive kick this. Not bad off the boot, but it's across the face and another behind. Didn't kick a goal against Hawthorn when they met in round 1 in 2004, David Neitz. They've played against each other, these two teams, in round 1 a couple of times. Long kick to the outer side on the mark by Taylor. Another round 1 clash between these two teams when with David Neitz ran through Luke McCabe in one of the clashes of the year back in 2002 and put Luke McCabe's shoulder out of joint and ran on and kicked the goal after bouncing off him. It's not the David Neitz of old at the moment. Bruce to McDonald. 52 plays 11. And it's getting uglier by the second. Franklin, Bateman, Jew. Almost within range. He does load up. Heads long. Rough heads down there. Wrapped up by Miller. Fist was good to Maloney. He'd up the final seconds and get in and have a breather. Hasn't been a great half to watch if you're a Melbourne fan, but if you're a Hawthorn fan, oh boy, you're licking your lips for a big season. Cyril Rioli, Cameron Stokes, Stuart Dew, Lance Franklin up forward with Jared Roughhead, still Hodge, Crawford, Brown, Lewis and Williams to come back. 52 plays 11 at half-time. Half-time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground, but it's Hawthorn by 41 points. Second half coming up live. In the words of the late Michael Hutchins, live baby live is what you get on Fox Sports and live on Fox Sports 2, China v Australia, Wednesday 4:30 Eastern Daylight Time.
And if Australia don't win, we're dead.
And if Melbourne doesn't pick up in the second half, Jared, they might find themselves in trouble as well. Lee Colbert's down on the boundary line. There's one Hawk in trouble, Lee.
Yeah, look, that's right. Trent Crode's actually gone to hospital now. Shane Crawford's been with him because they've suffered similar injuries. It's actually a crack in his arm, not his wrist. So I think that's probably a good thing for Trent, given his previous history with the wrist. But it's definitely a crack in the arm, and it's going to be 6 to 7 weeks, according to the docs. The Demons, well, look, they're a little bit dispirited coming into half-time, but no doubt, look, it's first game of the year. Their coach would have had a few words to them, and you know, they've got to come out now and really show what they're made of for their new coach.
Strangely, strange as you've put it, but 6 or 7 weeks is probably the best news that Alistair Clarkson could have under those circumstances, because it could well have been the best part of the year out if he had have done the wrist as he had done some years ago. But everything else outside of the Trent Crode injury has been a positive for the Hawks. The Demons have got to find some as we enter the second half.
As they say, you only get one chance to make a first impression, and the Demons need to improve the first impression they're making for 2008, because it'll be talked about for a few days if they don't fire up in the second half. 52 plays 11, 1 goal only in the opening half. Melbourne.
Well, if we look at just pure stats, Dwayne, they need Davey with 5 to get really involved. They need Jeff White with just 3 possessions to get involved. Wheatley off the half-back with 4. Russell Robinson's had 2. James McDonald's just had 6. Bell off the half-back 3. Got to get some run from defence.
McLean to Green to Bruce to White to Jones. So good combination there. And the man who might be captain of this team in a couple of years' time, Nathan Jones, has it in the pocket. He's captained just about every team he's ever played for. Captained his school. Captained his local club, Mount Eliza Demons, who wear the same jumpers as the Melbourne Demons, and captain Victoria at underage level as well. Nathan Jones could be the man to take over from David Neitz, but doesn't kick the captain's goal to start the second half for Melbourne here.
The positive was there was Melbourne players running hard into space, and that's all Dean Bailey can ask of them, and they can back themselves, run hard and give themselves some sort of hope of getting back in this game.
Guerra to Gillum to Sam Mitchell. Confident bounce, and now he has Sewell, and he can run as well. Leads come from everywhere. Franklin's lurking, back with the flight. Miller tapped it towards the behinds, and it went out of play. Umpire says it wasn't deliberate.
Got a new opponent in this term. Bell has been given a very, very difficult task to try and slow him down, probably going with a little bit more pace. But he's got to attack off him. Can't just expect to stop him.
Roughhead and Boyle went for the ruck work. Carroll, the Garland's kick was smothered. Heads wide to Davey, one of the men you talked about, Jared. Needs to have a good second half, but beaten for it by Murphy to Ladson. Hawks can reload. Mitchell, the general. Got around Davey a little too easily, and Davey stopped. So Mitchell stopped as well, and Sends it back to Guerra.
Well, every player's pushed back into defence. Maybe that they've reset the clock, the Demons, and said, well, we'll play their same game and really get numbers back.
Look out.
Rough head flies. Two Demons spoil each other. Carroll over it. Doesn't want to knock it out, but knows he has to. No free to Rioli. Massive scrimmage. Umpire wanted everybody else to sort it out, but he has to do it himself.
At least Hawthorn was forced to go long to a contest. Have given the Demons an opportunity here to have a stoppage and hopefully for their sake a clearance, but it certainly wasn't an easy shot on goal like it has been in the first half.
White found the boundary line. Jones, Green, Bell, McDonald, Green.
Well, they've got the overlap. It's got to keep running now and don't turn the ball over.
Bell to Wheatra. First gamer. The look-away handball doesn't normally work unless you're really, really good at it. Taylor, Osborne, Guerra's calling for it. There's one that worked. Ladson short, Jew. He's within range. Stewie Jew pokes it to Franklin in the pocket. Wasn't quite right. And he knows it. Both know it.
Even Stewie Jew with such a powerful leg, you need more than 1 or 2 steps. Just wasn't aware that Lance Franklin was in the space. Had to get back quicker.
Franklin thumped it down. Stuart Jew can make amends. Breaks through 3 tackles. It's great to have you, Stuart Jew. The Hawks love him. He's their new hero.
Looked like a rugby league prop just going over a couple of tackles there. Held his feet and was strong enough to convert. Just hit the pack at some pace.
Oh, he just steamrolled his
way through 2 tackles. There wasn't much resistance there, but strong body comes in very handy.
Just got the 3-pack working, not quite at the 6-pack level just yet, but just flexed the muscles and through he went, the big barge.
Followed his girlfriend overseas for a year. She's an actress, Teresa Palmer, and they did split, and she's about to star in a big new movie with Adam Sandler called Bedtime Stories. So she's got a big career in Hollywood in front of her, and he looks like he might have a big career at Hawthorn in front of him. From the ball up, Sewell dragged down by McDonald. Lays the tackle, does Jew, but it comes out to Davey. Hunted down by Bateman.
Good chase.
Good speed. Can he finish? Low trajectory and an easy one really for Gillum, although Guerra nearly mops it up and dishes it up. Handball comes out from Birchall. Sewell. Melbourne fans getting something to cheer here. They want a decision their way. They don't get it.
There's one bloke at the bottom of that pack, a Melbourne player. I think it was Juice Newton, cop one right in the noggin.
Umpires Farmer, Kennedy and Nichols this evening. Umpire Farmer thumps it into the turf. Stuart Jew to Birchall. A couple of old Port Adelaide boys. Bateman. And now Wheatra. Slick handball, a little too slick to Bruce. And we'll get a ball in. Isaac Wheatra, Port Adelaide's SANFL team, and his parents over as well to see his first game. Linda and Colin, his brother Paul and Geordie here as well to see Isaac in his first outing. So it's good that Melbourne have blooded a couple of young players, Wheatra and Carl Morton this afternoon. Not a lot else has gone right for them.
Jones is now running with Sam Mitchell.
McLean tied up by both Young and Mitchell.
And this is good, actually. I mean, Melbourne weren't able to get the clearance on that occasion, but there's been multiple stoppages in their forward half, whereas in the first half, Hawthorn were just running out far too easy. So that certainly is a positive as far as the Demons are concerned.
Heard the umpire say play on, players playing for frees. Birchall got it from Mitchell, gave it to Jew. One-on-one, Boyle and Miller.
There's space everywhere.
Boyle spoils to his own advantage, just needs to finish. Or he goes for Franklin instead. Why wouldn't you?
Brilliant structure there from Hawthorn. Everybody pushed up for Melbourne, and they had Boyle who ran back with the flight of the ball, and Bell and Franklin were one out in the square. Well, Franklin's going to beat anybody one out, the form he's in at the moment.
And that was very good, Lance Franklin. He actually gave the illusion that he was thinking about passing it off there. Whereas he's definitely going to have a shot on goal.
Needs to really work this one from right to left. It's his natural bend, but has he got enough distance to do it?
He's kicked 3-3 so far. Make that 4-3.
It's so dangerous when you've got athletic forwards such as Roughhead, Boyle and Franklin. When they're isolated, it makes it very, very difficult.
Good structure. You can see there the space. And then smart play by Franklin. He feigns to the left and then ducks to the right.
Just put the paw out just to hold the opponent off, which is perfectly legal.
Well, he's undersized, as you can see there, Daniel Bell. He's fighting beyond his weight, and if it's popped up in the middle, well, it's a non-event.
And that's why they've basically put Franklin back to the goal square, because a one-on-one contest is going to be very difficult for Bell to be able to contest with Franklin. Bell will be happier if they're running up to centre wing. I'm sure the Melbourne Match Committee will be happier if Franklin's on the wing as well.
Taylor won the knock, but down to McLean with the clearance. And that's a spectacular mark by Ladson. The AFL should do all fans a favour and allow every Hawthorn fan just to stand next to Lance Franklin to get an appreciation of how big he is. He is a massive unit, Lance Franklin.
And then try to chase him around the ground or something like that.
You don't get a chance to appreciate it just on the television screen how big he is, but he's a giant. One of the new AFL reigning athletes that can play anywhere. Ellis to the wing. Will push out by Wheatley on Stokes. Did well. Green pokes the pass to Wheatra. McLean back to the first gamer. And now the kick and hope. Newton does have a run here. Getting back Campbell. Hasn't seen a lot of the action and starting to enjoy it.
Yeah, Bateman's in space here wide.
Ladson, Mitchell, Ellis.
Is it fair to say that Hawthorn have tried to go corridor far more this year than perhaps last?
I think without doubt. It makes it so easy to come through this part of the field.
Birchall, Tuck, Rioli and then to Franklin. Couldn't take the mark this time. Would have been a Melbourne free to Carroll to play on, and they have players on the wing. Bruce to Green. Davies inside 50.
Got to take him on, run around him.
Can he kick it from there? He doesn't look confident.
I think I'm with Jared. Like to see him back himself.
He does back himself and can't get Melbourne's second goal of the afternoon.
I think every team tries to get through the corridor when running out of defence, just to open up both options in the forward half of the ground. But to be fair, I think there hasn't been the pressure on the Hawthorn ball carriers, so they've had plenty of options. So through the middle is the best one.
That is a fair kick.
Birchall to Mitchell to Bateman to Young. Unbelievable.
Well, that kick of Mitchell's didn't hit a target, but it actually was better than that. It allowed Bateman to continue running absolutely flat out, because if he had to slow even a kilometre an hour, he would have been pinged.
Well, you guys mentioned earlier it's bad news if you kick it behind against Hawthorn, because they can take it the whole way. Taking it the whole way here. Young finishes it off, puts the exclamation mark on a beautiful passage of play.
And I think for 10 minutes, Melbourne haven't been too bad as far as their intensity goes. They've certainly tried to work hard and attack the ball carrier for the opposition, put pressure on the ball carrier, tackle hard. But the danger is now, probably we're a goal away from this just opening right up. I mean, it's a massive margin, but you can see the Demon players drop off altogether in a sec.
You also mentioned earlier that Clinton Young needs to finish. Jared, more so on the run you were talking before, but at least in the set shot there did finish it off.
No, that was excellent. Very talented player. Can play forward, but exquisite skill off the wing. Just got to finish more.
Taylor down to Jones, and a good tackle by two Hawks again. Shows their intensity. Stokes and Roughhead throw the ball up.
Plenty of space around the contest here with the ball up. His players are very tight, so if a clearance here will go into space and make it easy to go into the forward line.
Garland just got a kick away in time. Bounces poorly for Bateman, although Roughhead tries to manufacture something, not to Maloney. Handball by Buckley to Miller. Needs calls for it short in his direction, through his hands. Gets a chance to make amends here, perhaps. Has to lay a tackle on Campbell. Ball in. 70, plays 13. And Sam Mitchell, 5 disposals in the last 10 minutes. The new captain for the Hawks, leading them well. Tuck, Sewell, Young, and here they go to the open side. Murphy, Birchall.
We'll see if Tim Clark gets it, because he's run 50 or 60 metres.
He's got it, Jared. Young found him, put it in space. Oh, bounce was poor.
Oh, it's a bugger of a ball sometimes.
But spot on, Jared, and that's typical of all Hawthorn players. They're prepared to work very hard. Don't always get the ball, but they'll work to space to give the options.
Paul Johnson's kick wasn't good, so Bateman and Boyle combined, and Young might get it eventually anyway. Spoiled by Johnson. Taylor. It's been glorious to watch so far this afternoon, and that centering kick spectacular.
Chance Bateman's had a blinder since about 20 minutes into the first quarter.
Young again. Can he finish again? No. And that was sort of on the run as well. Only a behind.
May have been a clash of heads there.
Self-inflicted wound.
Yeah.
Force equals mass times acceleration for Newton. Hopefully he's okay.
It's a couple of hits to the head today he's had.
Wheatley. Wasn't pretty. No, the result was okay. Miller. The Maloney had to do the mop-up. And that's terrible to Hawks Jones, and cut off by Roughhead. Takes them on. Handball wasn't good. Gives it back to Miller. To Buckley, Miller, Jones. Again, kick not clean to the target. Mitchell dives in. Good commitment from both players, Maloney and Mitchell. Maloney in trouble now. Umpire gives him a reprieve. So 20 to Mitchell. Birchall 18. Bateman due. And the first of the Demons, Nathan Jones. Stokes couldn't trap it. Roughhead does to Mitchell. Another one. Tim Clark, Stewart due. Sold the dummy to Wheatra. Sends it long. Franklin. Franklin! He was up. Boyle will mop it up and roll it home. It's like shelling peas at the moment.
Well, I was a bit disappointed there for you, Dwayne. I thought you were about to call Mark of the Year, because he was set and he was ready to fly. Ooh, he's going to get up high one day.
That's a great thing about a strong contest there. It was 2-on-1 situation. Hawthorn player was able to stay down, and this situation wasn't exactly a crumbing forward in Boyle, but he did the job of a very good crumbing forward and picked up the scraps. Hard attack on the ball, causes a spillage, and has caused a goal. I'd like to see some speed get through the midfield somewhere for the Melbourne side. I don't know whether Davey has got the endurance to get up there, even if it's just for a few minutes, to someone to get their hand on the ball and run and try to take a bounce.
From the ball up, Mitchell. Another possession to Bateman, straight down the corridor with speed. Franklin calls short. Boyle might fly from 5 deep. Does. Thumps it down. Franklin still lurking. Hawthorn players almost getting in each other's way at the moment. Franklin tries to manufacture a handball. Osborne straight up in the air. You heard the call. Offhand, Stokes!
He missed that. That was a brilliant tap.
First goal in AFL football to Cameron Stokes.
Goal brilliant, tap even better. Have a look at this one, Alistair. This was just the magic moment of the match.
Well, if it was deliberate, there's a great awareness of the people around you, and great play, exciting stuff from Stokes. Just another lively player to go with the huge number of high-paced players that the Hawthorn midfield and forward line have got. Very athletic team.
83 plays 13. It's a demolition at the moment. McDonald towards half forward. Maloney. Good tackle by Birchall. Didn't dispose of it legally.
Give it up, Aaron! Aaron, give it up! Time, Nico.
Back into the corridor they come. Murphy, Mitchell, Wobbler. The shocker really. Garland cuts it off. Russell Robertson. He's not on the Songbird this afternoon. Mitchell, Clark to Young. That's a wobbler off the boot, straight to Carroll.
Well, that's very unusual for the Hawks. Just a bit of a floater off the boot, missing the target, and the Demons have put an extra man back into defence just to try to help out down back.
Buckley sends it wide to Miller. Needs to hit a target with this pass. Uze. Good hands. Takes off. And can't bend it back anywhere near enough. Straight down the middle again. See if they can score from another behind scored by Melbourne. Young wide to Clark. He sends it long. Osborne. Franklin's got 2 to beat here. Might beat them both. Knocks it to his own advantage. Can he get it out to Stuart Dew? It's locked in by Bell. Umpire tells him to get it out and then pins him. Hawk fans not happy. But they haven't had much to boo this afternoon.
I don't think you argue too much. It was pretty difficult. He had a floater coming in, nearly took the mark. He was out number 2 to 1. And they're red hot on that decision these days.
Buckley, for so long the other Buckley of the competition. It's the handball away, stolen by Ellis. Hawks have numbers inside 50. They've got Boyle, they've got Dew.
Take your pick. Players everywhere. Roughhead's gone down with a cramp.
And here's Clark, who maybe just inside his distance here.
Oh, they're playing around with him now.
They are. This is getting embarrassing now. And Osborne finishes it off.
And that's the thing, Dwayne, it is getting embarrassing. We just thought with their initial effort early in the third quarter, where they picked up the tempo, tried to put pressure on the ball carrier, it has dropped away. The floodgates, this could be really ugly now. To still, most of the way through the third quarter, Melbourne have only scored 1 goal, which is just nowhere near it at this level.
Well, Dean Bailey, he was an apprentice under Kevin Sheedy, was an apprentice under Mark Williams at Port Adelaide, of course. He coached in his own right, Dean Bailey, at Mount Gravatt, as well in Queensland. So he's been around 50s. The coaching caper for a while, but gee, he needs to pull a rabbit out of the hat to resurrect this.
There will be plenty of meetings going on after this game. 29 inside 50s for Melbourne, with only the 1 goal scored, and can't totally blame the forwards. It's got to be across the board that just hasn't been support for each other.
Uze steals it and gives to Cale Morton. Sends it in the Neats direction. That's better. Good hands.
A rare marking just inside 450, but it's wide. It's a long way out.
And he loads up long. Uze might have to fly here over the top. Can't bring it down. So Murphy, Birchall, Guerra, Dew. And they run. Ellis gets the handball out to Campbell now. Guerra. Michael Osborne. 2 goals, 1. Michael Osborne so far today. Now Gillum, another regular fixture in the defence now. Stephen Gillum, been a great pickup from Port Adelaide. Ellis, Osborne, and here they go now. Sewell's peeling off. Tim Clark's there. Tim Clark held it long enough.
3-on-1 back in front of Franklin, but they'll find space for him.
Clark tries to spear the pass. He had to attempt that because Franklin, as you said, Alistair, had 3 on him. McLean to McDonald. Again, not a lot to go to. Green forced to backtrack all the way to Carroll. To the boos. Not sure if that's from the Hawthorn fans or the Melbourne fans at the moment. Johnson harassed by Young, and that's a win almost for both. I don't think Johnson was going to beat Young if it stayed inside the boundary line. White in the ruck against Boyle, knocks it down to Stokes. Handballs to Dew. Strengthened the legs. Kicks to goal!
I think he has.
Magnificent from Stuart Dew.
Oh. Melbourne players aren't happy. They're saying that's touched the post, but great goal from Stewie Dew. And very good hands from young Stokes. Has either got the call or had the peripheral vision to know Stewie Dew was there. And that was a very good kick, regardless whether it's hit the post or not. It's gone very close. And that's just the way things are going for Hawthorn at the moment. We have a look at the slow motion replay. I reckon it may have touched the post. Very tough for the goal umpire to tell.
I take it that's the Hawthorn supporters saying Jew rather than the Melbourne supporters saying boo.
Right. Could be a mixture of both, Jared.
It's working, whatever it is.
Stewie Jew, what a debut for his new club. He was a Hawthorn fan as a kid, so maybe he's come home to the place he should have been from the start. Jones towards Newton. Hands on it, but can't mark it. Green. Back to Wheatley. Maloney. Again, they run themselves into a bit of trouble. Green releases Maloney. Now Neeks.
Good strong lead. Good pass, a rare mark inside 50.
Yet to kick a goal this afternoon, David Neeks, but there's 21 players out there for Melbourne who are yet to kick one. This for Melbourne's second, and it's way across the face. Newton flies. Ladson tries to trickle it through, but touch the post on the way through. It'll be a ball in. This is going to be a spanking. 95 plays 14. Back into play. Bateman, Murphy, Tuck.
Here they go again. Just run too hard.
Tim Clark. Rough heads on the move. Got his arm slapped, marked it regardless.
He's been impressive.
Rioli, he leads out from full forward. He spent it before he earned it. He's got it back again. He's dropped it. About to pick it up again. He was caught high.
He's got there.
Oh, he's got the goods. He's got craft, ingenuity.
He's got electric pace. We haven't actually seen him put the afterburners on. He did it once in Adelaide against the Crows. It might have been Port Adelaide, not sure. But it was the Crows. And he just blew one of the quicker players from the Crows off the park.
For his first goal in AFL football. This will bring the house down. Bending back, it's hit the post. And there is a bit of synchronicity with Cyril Rioli playing against the Demons in round one. This is the 150th anniversary of the first game between Scotch College and Melbourne Grammar, of course, and Cyril Rioli's been going to Scotch College for the last couple of years. Now, it's great that he is out here on the MCG.
That's a 50-metre penalty
against
Boyle. Just came in after the mark and wrapped up his opponent there in Nathan Jones.
And just to finish that point, it's one of the reasons why Cyril Rioli is not facing the problem of being away from home in his first year in the AFL. He's already been living here in Melbourne for a couple of years. McLean. Back into the midfield to Buckley, who played on, caught by Bateman to Jones. Good tackle by Tim Clark. McLean attacks it as he always does. Now Davey. Johnson can launch a long ball, heads toward Neeks. Half volley was tough for him. Well played by Campbell. Dived in, knocked it out. And here they go again.
Terrible pass to Neeks again. He'd worked hard, 3 or 4 leads. Was finally honoured, but the pass was off.
They've got Buddy coming off the bench. No one's near Buddy Franklin.
Osborne hasn't seen him yet.
There.
But the discipline to come back into the corridor. Tuck's seen Franklin now. Tuck knows he's there. Tried to make out he wouldn't give to him, but he's got it.
Rioli's an option here.
He's kicked 4 goals, 3. Lance Franklin. He's never kicked 5 against Melbourne. So a chance to add a bag of 5 to that ever-growing goal tally. That
it's about his distance.
Yeah.
Heads it out to that right-hand goal post. Generally bends it back right to left. He's got to get it flush, though, getting close to the man on the mark.
There he is, the run out. Drifts it back. He is going to be bringing people to the football for a long, long time, Lance Franklin. They're going to be coming here to watch him, and him alone sometimes. He is sensational.
That was a great kick. As you called it, Jared, he was close to the man on the mark, so he had to get up and under it.
I think he was just testing out his lob wedge.
Wasn't it? He just, as you called it, he drew it
That's his best distance.
Left to right
yep.
to start with, and just on the wind just faded it back.
Well, the foot cuts across the ball pretty strongly, and that's why he puts that draw on it, if you like, or the fade it is.
It's a bit of both.
Yes.
It's like Dwayne in his halcyon days out in the golf course.
Not sure there were too many those days, but geez, he's exciting up there. When you've added Rioli and Stokes, two kids that are natural goal kickers, to the likes of Hodge, who's going to play, I'm sure, up forward more. Roughhead looks in fine fettle. Boyle's had a good game. They're going to be dangerous.
Bateman thumps it forward. Cut off by Paul Wheatley. Tries to hit Neitz. Green called in by Neitz. Takes off. No one really calling for it inside 50. So he tries to go the whole hog. Melbourne's second goal. And we're 2 minutes from three-quarter time. Demons' worst score ever against Hawthorn back in 1966 was 3 goals, 11-29. We're currently 2 goals, 8-20.
Good goal. Played on. Took a mark. Quick transition. They're just got to keep trying that.
Brad Green, never been in the top 3 of the best and fairest at Melbourne. Always been a very good player, but hasn't been able to hit very, very good for a whole season. 102 plays 20. Taylor, but down with the palm to Maloney. Bruce, White, Green. Towards Robertson. Gets the fly, good spoil Gillen. Robertson pounces, maybe 2 in a row. It's across the face.
Just come on the ground, replaced David Neitz, who had been working hard in this quarter, been pumping out plenty of leads, had been honoured on a couple of occasions, but just have a spell while Russell Robertson just tries to get himself into the game.
Have they got the ball away from the kickouts too easily, Hawthorn?
Oh, jeez.
Rhetorical question.
Just been no pressure whatsoever.
Well, you'd think you'd like to see them actually go man on man. Let's see where they're breaking down. The zone certainly hasn't been working.
They're so confident from their kick-ins. They let Robert Campbell kick in a few moments ago, and he's not their normal man. Tim Clark's on his backside.
Brent Maloney shepherded him well. Fair enough.
Bell to Wheatra to White. Zach Wheatra could have had a crack for his first goal on AFL footy, but gave it off to Jeff White. Still a chance for 2 in a row. A tough afternoon at the office for Jeff White. Cheerio to his ruck coach of a few years ago, Sam Newman. Been tutored by some of the best in the business. He has been a genuine champion ruckman for a long, long time, Jeff White, but unfortunately hasn't been able to cap it off with some sort of spectacular finals performance. Of course, had his face rearranged by Stephen King a couple of years ago and fought back from that. Just testament to his courage. Mitchell.
So Melbourne have been able to hold the zone here, and that probably saved them.
Three-quarter time at the Melbourne Cricket Ground. How's that for a look of content? The new captain, Sam Mitchell, new captain of the Hawthorn Footy Club, has been able to lead his team to an 80-point lead at the last change. Hawthorn 15-12, 102. Melbourne 2-10, 22. It's been a Hawthorn afternoon. 80 points the margin, 15-12, 102 to Melbourne 2-10, 22. Still got a quarter to go. Lee Colbert's on the boundary line.
Yes, Willow, pretty frustrating day for players and coaches.
Yeah, it is. We just can't hit a target at the minute, and we're just really coughing too many balls up. We know how much of a counter-attack side they are, so things haven't gone well at this stage, and we really need to just get something out of this game now.
Is that the expectation for the last quarter? Find something in the last?
Yeah, we just want to make sure they're very accountable. We want to go with them everywhere. So we'll really see who's going to be able to play on their bloke and who's going to let us down. So we're going to go one-on-one everywhere, and we're going to get inside them and see what happens.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate your time.
No, it's Colin.
Back to you, boys.
Thanks, Lee. 80 points the margin, gentlemen. What do you make of the numbers?
Well, there's nothing much you can make outside of it's been a complete, I guess, obliteration. We spoke at half-time about the tackles. Well, they've improved slightly. We spoke about the effective disposals. They haven't improved all that much. Lynching, I think the marks inside 50 also were one way, and they continue to be. Melbourne's improved slightly there, but I think right now all Malpe can do is try and build on something for next week. Hawthorn aren't going to lose this match. They've come and conquered. Melbourne have to find something that they can take into next week.
I like the call of going one-on-one across the field. So a bit of player accountability, and at the very worst, you're going to see how hard these guys work, and you've got to try to beat your man one-on-one. And he's just come out of a tough job over in the West. Thought it might have got a little bit easier, but certainly tough gig here at Melbourne for the start of the season, round one.
I think Chris Connolly absolutely knew how difficult this was going to be as a job to turn this footy club around. Not sure Paul McNamee did as much, though. I think it's going to be a real lesson for him as for just what it's like to live in, I guess, the fishbowl nature of a footy club. And right now, if it was a tennis match, he's 2.5 sets down in a 5-setter. It's a big job to turn this around. There won't be too many ticket sales on the back of this performance by Melbourne, but they're taking the long-term view, which I think is the only way that they're going to re-establish this club as a power.
Mind you, when the ticket office opens up for membership to the Hawthorn Footy Club on Tuesday morning, you can expect a long queue. If there's still a spot on the bandwagon and you're a Hawk person, get on now. From the ball up, White against Campbell, Mitchell. It's been spectacular today. He sends it long in the rough head direction. Gets a little nudge from Carroll. Miller tries to duck through the rough head tackle. Wheatley. And now Pettit. Green. Bruce. Wheatley. Just pops it up, hoping for Wheatra. It's a little too wide for the first gamer. And we'll get a ball in on the wing. Tough day at the office. Play your first game in a side that's getting beaten by 80 points to three-quarter time and still 30 minutes to go. But Wheatra gets a touch here. To Jones, to Wheatley. You heard the call. Won't be a mark. Robertson tries to half volley at count. Guerra. Little slide. Uze slides in. Hands off to Newton from the pocket. Touch play on. It would have been a goal, but it was touched off the boot. Nothing going right for the Demons today.
Nothing at all, and the transition once again is up and going. Didn't have time to set up the zone, and the Hawks are away.
Young got it from Gillum and got it from Guerra,
and that's just the play they've got to be able to stop. I mean, it's hard enough, I'm sure, being a defender in the Melbourne side when you've lined up. You've got Buddy, Franklin, Roughhead and Boyle. If the ball comes in without any resistance or pressure or players around you to help you, you've got no chance.
Stuart Dew loads up. Franklin has got a one-on-one. Oh,
my. He was almost out of position. Held his player out pretty well. Young Bell, who gives away a fair bit of size, but just jumped at the last minute. And that great reach was able to take in a one-grab mark. Here he is. Probably caught under the ball. Little nudge and at full stretch. That is a very good grab.
He is a monster of a man. Lines up for his 6th. He is awesome.
And if you're after a number 23 jumper, I'd be heading in pretty quick Monday morning to buy them, because they'll sell out fairly quick, I would have thought. Won't be too many left.
He actually wears it because he was a Michael Jordan fan, not a Dermot Brereton fan, but Dermot might argue with me at some stage.
Well, Don Scott might have something to say.
That's true. Good point. Modelled himself as a kid on Peter Sumich.
He's got his kicking style.
Yeah, he's got a very similar kicking style.
Because he's from WA, but guess who he bagged for as a kid? Melbourne.
Jeez.
But he's happy right now he's not playing for them. 16-12 to 2-11.
Too early, Jeff.
It's an interesting
Jeff
decision.
White thought it was his. Campbell gave it off to Mitchell towards Roughhead and Franklin.
Been impressed with Roughhead today. When he first started, I wasn't sure he was going to have the pace to make it in league footy, but he just seems to have motored along pretty well over the last 2 or 3 years, and clearly now he's going to be a force to be reckoned with.
4th season now, so seasoned campaigner in many ways. Bell left it behind. Osborne shoots it up. Little snap around the body is offline from Stokes. Behind. Well, a delightful afternoon it's been for Hawthorn fans.
Such is football's, I guess, cutthroat nature. Luke Hodge is available for next week, so somebody has to get dropped out of this side, which is unfortunate because no one deserves to be.
Trent Crode won't be able to play, Joe.
True.
So there's the easy out. Guerra cuts it off at half-back. Here they go again. Ladson to Jew. Tough one. Bateman had to stand and wait. Green came at him, and big opportunity here. Hasn't been much of an afternoon for Aaron Davey. Still isn't.
And if anybody can help sell membership tickets at this club, it's that bloke. Didn't have his best year last season, but if he can just find some form early in the year, he's another one who drags people through the gate.
Clinton Young's kick, not really all that spectacular, and we'll get a ball in 109-24.
And Trent Crode's going to be sorely missed. I mean, to be a real premiership contender, they need some big defenders. Trent Crode certainly is that. To complement Gillum, they've got plenty of run through the midfield and off half-back, and the forward line's unquestionable in their talents.
Pettit found McLean into the corridor. Green got it from Bruce. Big fly from Neitz from 4 deep. Had to spoil, couldn't bring it down. Jew shoots it out, nice deflection. Sewell to Mitchell. Bouncing ball to Ellis. They've just got the numbers. Ladson, he's got Bateman.
Oh, here we go.
Ton of options for Chance Bateman. Shoots it inside 50. Stokes all the way home. This is glorious.
And saw that nice little tap off half-back. And that is, once again, just confidence in your teammates, confidence in the people around you to be able to do the job and to run forward to the ball. And certainly the Hawthorn players do that with enormous amount of confidence. See that tap, little call, and the run like we've seen all day off half-back with no pressure, been able to hit up targets, resulting in a shot on goal, and on this occasion, as with most, a goal.
You mentioned Trent Crode. They really haven't been without, well, haven't had him today at all. He hurt himself in the opening term. So that's Crode, Luke Hodge, Shane Crawford, Campbell Brown, Jordan Lewis, and Mark Williams, who would find it difficult to get into that forward line.
Well, Campbell will be back. Campbell Brown will be back next week. I'm not sure about Mark Williams, but I guess he'd be vying for a position that is being filled by this young man and Cameron Stokes. There was Cameron Stokes, him and Cyril.
Got a heavy shepherd there, and it was in the back.
So Stokes will take it. Shane Crawford still a couple of weeks away, of course.
Oh, look at the running again into space.
He's had a big game, Cyril.
He's had a big couple of years, really.
He's a quiet achiever, just continues to work hard.
Best and fairest last year. Long kick towards Boyle at full forward. Wheatley can rush it behind if he wants to Miller. Shoots the handball out to Bell. Now McLean. Brought down. Great tackle, Osborne. Tuck shoots for goal, but it'll come back.
How good's that? The game is all but over. I mean, it's totally over. Osborne just run, chase hard. Great tackle, great pace. But then again, why wasn't there someone to support the Melbourne ball carrier with a shepherd, or at least talk?
Michael Osborne's kick 2-1. And just to finish that point about Sewell, won the best and fairest last year, but only received 8 Brownlow votes to Sam Mitchell's 21. So he doesn't get noticed perhaps as much as he should, even by the umpires and maybe by people like us in the media. Osborne's got 3. And we've got a party.
He missed the 6 games last year, Osborne. He's racked up 77th match now and has been a very good player. Just adds that vigour around half forward, half back. Comes off for a spell now, but that's just fantastic. Every coach likes to see that. Forwards chasing hard to maintain possession.
Was offered a spot on Brisbane's rookie list when you were there, Alistair. Michael Osborne knocked it back, wanted to go into the draft from Labrador up on the Gold Coast.
He's done very well.
Could have done better, played in the flag though, but he might well play in one in the next couple of years.
Yeah, I think he'd be very content with where he's, well, not content, but very happy with the club he's at the moment. There's an enormous amount of talent. He's fitted into the team with a valuable role, and they're just setting themselves up for a big tilt at it in 08.
Yeah, and maybe 09 and maybe 2010 and 11, the way they're travelling. They've got young blokes like Franklin flying up forward, off hands. Rioli runs through the pack. Absolute genius.
Well, if you couldn't get that number 23 jumper, there's a 33 that might be there. That'll go out pretty quick. He's going to be a superstar. Just so much talent.
So there's his first goal in AFL footy.
And he has put his name right up there for consideration as one of the early favourites with Tom Hawkins for the NAB Rising Star. There'll be another few bob up from this weekend. But there'll be a few more exciting than this kid. Just going through it, my mind about Melbourne, Dwayne, it's hard to believe that it was less than 2 years ago that they beat St Kilda in a big final.
That's true. First AFL goal, as we said, for Cyril Rioli. He was taken early in the draft last year, picked 12, Cyril Rioli, so it's not as if he's come out of nowhere. All-Australian at the under-18 carnival last year. So the recruiters knew that he could play, and Hawthorn picked him, picked 12, and they're pretty happy at the moment. McLean couldn't get the kick away. Tim Clark, likewise. Bateman to Sewell. And they go again. Bateman gets it from Mitchell. Lead comes from Boyle. It's out wide. Ridden towards the boundary line by Bell, and he takes it out.
And they're playing one short. Xavier Ellis is down with cramp and just limping from the ground now. But quite rightly, a few of the Hawthorn players have struggled with cramp round one, but just the way they've run.
103 points the margin. Campbell, he might get on the score sheet.
Gee, floodgates.
Bring out the hundreds and thousands sandwiches.
They're absolutely putting on a clinic at the moment. The big fella just waltzed around a couple of Melbourne defenders and kicked a very easy goal.
Well, when it came to the match, I thought that Hawthorn may just have enough, but with the omissions, I was thinking it might be a real opportunity for Dean Bailey and the Demons to get a fair win, kick off their season. But they've covered their losses and added some more talent to their list, without doubt.
Alistair Clarkson's 4th season as coach now, and they are in a good position to have a crack at it this year. They've been patient. They've got a good list. Bateman, short to Campbell. Pokes it inside 50. The lead from Roughhead. Gets there and marks. Nathan Carroll's has had a tough summer as it stands. Found himself in a couple of scuffles and got himself in trouble overseas, but the Melbourne hierarchy didn't suspend him like they did Colin Sylvia. He stuck with him. He started the game on Lance Franklin. Nathan Carroll is now on Jared Roughhead. Starts at left, brings it back. We're running out of adjectives.
Well, very lonely place for the likes of Nathan Carroll down back. Just the ball has come in all day at a very fierce pace. Just makes it so tough for key defenders. You don't mind being on the end of passes like that.
It This club turns 150 years old this year, Melbourne, and they are facing one of the most devastating defeats of their long time in the AFL VFL. Hawthorn lead by 115 points, and that equals at the moment their greatest winning margin ever against the Melbourne Football Club Hawthorn. So
Yes, Nathan.
this one could be one for the history books. 139 to 24. Nathan Jones. A wobbler towards half forward McDonald. Stagnant, heads wide, and Robertson takes the mark. Kickable for him.
Just had the 3 kicks today. It's been a quiet day for Russell Robertson. Been a good player over the years for Melbourne. Very exciting half forward. Just the 2 points. Just struggled. The delivery's been poor.
Bends it back. Not bad off the boot. That's a good kick. Russell Robertson gets his first.
Inside 50s, 39 to Melbourne, 48 to Hawthorn. You may even think that the difference would be bigger than that, but it certainly is the way the ball has gone in. Russell Robertson worked back hard into space and pumped out his second lead, so got on the end of it, and a good conversion, but there's been far too many opportunities for the forwards to get into that space. Hawthorn just worked back extremely hard. And Lee Colbert down on the boundary line has got some news for us.
I have Lynchy. The interesting thing, Robbo kicked the great goal, obviously, but 2 of the young blokes were the only 2 that went to him, Carl Morton and Isaac Wheatra. So not great signs, and I know it's easy to whack a team when they're down.
Yeah, it's tough, really. Stokes got it from Bateman, kicked it towards Guerra. And there is a good news story out of this game. It is Hawthorn, who are firing early. And they were spanked last year in the opening game of the season against the Brisbane Lions at the Gabba. They looked atrocious in many respects. Ended up having a good season, but they are on track for a very, very good season. So although Melbourne might be the horror story of round 1, the Hawks may well be the team everybody's talking about as the biggest winner of the entire round, not just margin-wise, but to lift their stocks for the season. Uze. Maloney. Garland. Shoots out the handball to Bell. Runs into trouble. Gets out of trouble. Wheatley. Now Maloney. Pokes the kick inside 50. It's cut off by Gillum.
And that's the area of his game, Brent Maloney, that he needs to address. That's rather than just long bombing, he's got to find targets.
Sewell.
He's worked pretty hard for the Demons and he's got plenty of touches. Got to hit the man each time.
So Newton not really chasing all that hard on Thomas Murphy. And the mark taken by Young. A few players going down with cramp from both teams at the moment. Roughhead. You would think that both teams would almost be content to hear the siren right now. That's a big clash. And he's still down at the moment. Miller. Shoots the handball out.
It could be anything.
Carroll.
Ribs, Corky, at best.
Carl Morton.
He's got the elbow tucked in close to his ribs.
Yep.
Looks like a fair amount of discomfort on that left side.
Ladson.
Oh, that's left
Easily break
ribs.
some ribs
Put in all sorts of strife there.
As I said, I think both teams will be quite content if they were asked, do we want to press the siren right now? They'd both say yes. The sun can't go down quick enough tonight for the Melbourne Footy Club. And the sun can't rise quickly enough for Hawthorn tomorrow. Carroll.
He's up, Ladson, and he's running. Not real comfortable, but he's up and going, which is good news for the Hawks.
Bell. Kicks it towards Robertson. Murphy's with him. Rides in towards the boundary line and gathers. Takes him on. Ladson's up and okay. That's good news. Stuart Dew, as you hear the call. He's got Stokes. It's all about how it bounces for him. Maloney attacks him and allows the ball to roll out. 139 to 30. calling for the trainers, saying get someone ready to come on. I think he's coming off. Rick Gladson. Campbell with the slap down. White, Maloney, Jones, but cut off by Rioli. Steps it out and we'll get a ball in. Taylor in the ruck.
It's been impressive,
tackling as well. He has been very, very good.
You called him early in the piece, Dwayne, not when the game was absolutely obliterated, but early in that first quarter, he was one of the guys that got them going and was most impressive.
Played every game last year, and really they had faith in him and Robert Campbell when they sold Peter Everett. They thought, well, we've got a couple of ruckmen who can take us into the next era. Showed faith in him and Campbell, and they've been able to rise.
They're two big bodies. Just see him next to White. Certainly a big man, very handy in these around the ground stoppages.
Again gets his palm on it, and again gathers his own crumb. Couldn't find the teammate with it, but little bump by Ladson on Uze just to test out the ribs, and we'll get a ball in.
I just mentioned
yeah, the flying,
that little bruise that I might have in the morning.
The flying mare off the turnbuckle.
No, you're a wrestling fan, Jared. Wheatra.
Killer Carl Cox was emblazoned in my memory as an 8-year-old.
Ivan Zivos, the mad Russian.
I think E.J. Whitten was adjudicating with Jack.
Young towards Dew, cut off by Green, but he lost his feet. Dew goes hard. Neitz comes at him. Dew stands his ground. Stand and then deliver. And Ladson will kick it goal.
It's well done. He's actually sucking him in. That actually hurt the contest with David Neitz, but took possession, went hard when he had to. Two big bodies hitting in together, but had the poise to hit the target. It's fantastic stuff. He's had a very good start to his career at Hawthorn.
Reasonable afternoon at the office for Rick Ladson. Possession number 19 coming up to add his name to the score sheet. And can't get a piece of the action behind. 110 points. So it looks like being 100 plus. Cut off again. Ladson shoots it out to Campbell. Rough head. He spins it around the body. There's some icing and a cherry on top.
Costly turnover has happened from the first minute of the day for Melbourne Football Club. That's good work for Campbell here. We see the good spoil. That's Rioli.
Cyril.
And here, Campbell's taken the tackle, but got his hands clear to give off the handball. And that's good. That's a great lesson for any young player. Take the tackle. Don't rush things. Get your hands free so you can get an effective disposal away. That was good work from Robert Campbell. Good conversion, Jared Roughhead.
40,141 was the attendance about half an hour ago. I don't think they're all here anymore. Not many Hawk fans have moved, though. Mitchell. In fact, more might have come. Franklin. Franklin gets the free. More cheers for Lance. Tough ball.
He just looks like he's missed it over summer.
Oh, yeah. He's pushed up the ground, pushed into the defensive half just to get a bit more of possession.
McLean to Uze, sends it wide. Robertson takes the mark. Maybe just beyond his range. Tucked into the fence.
Suspect he might have a crack.
I suppose there's nothing to lose, really, is there? He's kicked one. It could be the only multiple from the Demons for the evening. He sends a long, strong ball. He's got two.
That's an outstanding kick.
Yep.
Not a big possession day for Russell Robinson. The 2 goals from 2 very good kicks. And that's outstanding. Seems to be a reasonably tough pocket out there to kick goals from at the MCG. But that is a tough shot on goal and left nothing on the tee there. He's flushed that straight through.
Kicked 42 goals, 28 last year from his 15 games, Russell Robertson. Lance Franklin comes off for a spell. That's his afternoon at the office all over. Get the cotton wool out. 6 goals, 3. 16 possessions, 9 marks. And the ball up. Inside 7 minutes. McDonald. Long bomb. Robertson waits down for this one. Jones forced to fly, and Robertson read that beautifully for number 3. Just can't get the kick away in time.
Jeez, it was a great chase. And it has been the major difference between the two groups. Been the tackling and the chasing very early in the game, and has continued right throughout.
Murphy with the rundown. Didn't give that up, and given the scoreline, you could almost forgive a player for giving up at this stage. But he gave that 101%. Ladson, he runs off. Boyle.
Just bumped him out nicely. Didn't use the hands, used the body, as has been instructed by the rules committee with their change. Something I know you embraced wholeheartedly, Lynchy.
My word. No, very good use of the body. Just a little nudge. But right off the back line again, Birchall ran very hard, 60 metres to find space. Good use of the body. Easy mark. And as a defender, once again, you're done cold there in that situation. Caught under the ball.
2 goals, 1, Tim Boyle. Starts
Generally
left.
a very accurate shot at goal, according to a couple of my
That's why I didn't
commentators.
say it.
You thought it though, Dwayne.
Yeah, I did.
You thought it.
147, plays 36. He'll be okay next week. I don't think we've got his game.
No, I don't think so. I hope for his sake we haven't.
Bell out wide. Garland.
Demons have got the Western Bulldogs next week.
Good win today by the Bulldogs, for those unaware.
I think it was a great win for one of the legends of the game.
Brad Johnson was the star of the show. Game 300.
I think the Crows may have had the game won until Brad Johnson turned it on in the last 10 minutes.
Carroll to McLean. Bruce. McLean back to Johnson. And now Bruce. Tries to thread the handball through. Mops up his own mess. Caught though. Back to McLean. A few of these Hawks are spent toward the goal square. Little thump down was okay. Robertson gathers the crumb. He rolls it through. That is pure genius. Russell Robertson's the only thing they've got right now.
And that's the thing Russell Robertson's quite capable of doing. Just kicking very good goals. These last 2 have been outstanding shots on goal. He had a little chat to the umpire just after this saying, what about the whack across the forehead? But that's outstanding.
Hawthorn play Fremantle next week at Subiaco. Alistair, you saw Fremantle yesterday.
Well, Fremantle want to pick up a long way from where they were yesterday. They certainly don't run anywhere near as hard, haven't got the pace of Hawthorn. At Subiaco, they're going to be obviously a tough team to play, but they'll have to have a look at what Hawthorn's done today and their work rate on and off the ball when they're in possession and certainly trying to get the ball back. And if they can match that, it'll be a very interesting encounter.
McLean with the clearance. Buckley, Uze, and McDonald. Back to Buckley. Nathan Jones sends a long bomb, but it's offline. Only a behind, and as we know, behinds have been dangerous for Melbourne because Hawthorn can take it the whole way.
I think it's probably the time has actually come where Hawthorn's had enough now. They've just slowed over the last few minutes. They've still worked very hard for most of the game, but they've been so outstanding. I reckon they can put the cue in the rack for the last few minutes and be content with the display in round 1.
Clinton Young to Tim Clark. And as you say, they're a little spent at the moment, the Hawks. McLean.
He's worked really hard, Brock McLean. Nathan Jones also has worked really hard through the middle of the ground.
Green shoots the handball out to Jones. The 2 men you spoke of to McLean, and now Bruce. Kick smothered. Sam Mitchell. Speaking of trying hard, He has been sensational, and the whole field opens up here for Osborne and Bateman. They could almost run it all the way. Chip kick inside 50. Campbell.
Chest mark. That's a joke. Should not be able to take a chest mark there.
That was too easy.
So they've had at various stages at full forward Lance Franklin, Jared Roughhead, Tim Boyle, and now they have Robert Campbell. And just a reminder, Mark Williams, who was named in the side, did not take his place in the Hawthorn team this evening. Robert Campbell has got one. Now got two.
Been very good, Campbell. His stoppage work
and full forward.
Yeah, his
some of the great players can do that, Alistair.
That's right, mate. He's been outstanding. His stoppage work's been very good. His awareness around goal has been outstanding.
Now, I don't want to take anything away from this kick from Chance Bateman because it was a blinder. But, I mean, there's just no pressure there.
Nah.
Good story, Robert Campbell, as well. No one picked him up in the draft, so he sent his resume to every Victorian-based club with the video of some of his highlights and said, hey, I want to play footy, give me a chance. Hawthorn gave him that chance. And he might just end up with a premiership the way his career's going. 23 goals, 15. 153 to 43. Jones wrapped up. Buckley.
He hasn't been their worst either.
Robertson caught under this one. Newton. Ball slapped down to McLean. He kicks around the body and misses. Rock McLean, as you said, has been a good try this afternoon, Jared. He owes them one, perhaps. Maybe owes them more than that. Osborne. Again, numbers peeling off for the Hawks. Osborne with the handball to Stokes. Back again, the 1-2. Maintaining possession. Gets around Maloney. Sends it long. The lead comes. Boyle! Crutch. Good commitment from the first game of Kyle Morton that time. Boyle crumbed it, though, to Bateman towards Tim Clark. Numbers again in Hawthorn's favour. Tuck, Sewell wheel their way back to Birchall, and they can reload. Inside 2 minutes to full time. Mitchell, the spearing pass to Roughhead. How's that for use of the body? That is superb.
Carroll's had a couple of those now from Lance Franklin, and now Jared Roughhead has been side by side. As we look at the courage of both players here, especially Morton going back with the fly of the ball, always very uncomfortable.
Big raps on this young man for the Demons. They need a few youngsters coming through. That was good use of the body from Jared Roughhead. They elected to ignore the man down the ground and then missed.
And that's the thing with Carroll running shoulder to shoulder with his opponent. He's probably got to initiate the contact himself. Think of himself as a forward, not wanting to just make a spoil but take the mark as well. Certainly the Hawthorn forwards have dictated terms on a couple of occasions now.
Colin Garland running back to position. Last minute of play. And the nightmare will then be over for Melbourne, or perhaps it's just starting. McLean. Nice mark in the end from Morton. Looks up. Green. Thought about running on. We can have the last kick of the match. 110 points. You can reduce it to 104. Doesn't matter how you look at it. It's been a spanking.
And good use of the ball, Morton. Two good interactions in the game in the last few minutes for the young fella.
He's kicked one so far for the afternoon. Squeezes through his second. A little bit of wallpaper over the cracks.
Yeah, there's not going to be too many positives outside of some performances by young players for Melbourne, and they'll look forward to getting some of their missing players back into this side. Sylvia will be available next week. Jared Rivers is one that they desperately need back into this side. Need some exposure from Frawley, who needs another year or so under his belt to make a significant difference. But most of all, next week they'll be looking for just a competitive effort before they start worrying about wins.
Final play of the afternoon. All hail the Hawks. They have been simply awesome. Alistair Clarkson, in his 4th season as coach, has seen his team demolish Melbourne in the opening game of the 2008 season and give every Hawthorn supporter hope that this could be their year again. No Hodge this afternoon, no Crawford, no Campbell-Brown, Lewis, Mark Williams, Trent Crowe, the only downside for Hawthorn. But there's the upside. Lance Franklin. They've got Rioli and Stokes now as well, the Hawks. They've got Stuart Dew. Sensational first game for him in Hawthorn colours. And they've got a number of players like Jared Roughead in his 4th season who are just starting to climb that ladder and let the world know they will be a force to be reckoned with this year.
Yeah, they'll be very happy, and they've just got off to the start they were hoping for. Stewie Dew, really pleased to see him racked up to 25 possessions as Lee Colbert is down on the ground with that man, Stewie Dew.
I am indeed. Stewie, this is the club you used to barrack for, mate. It was just fantastic to be running around today, I bet.
Yeah, very different and fantastic. The guys have been great, really helped me settle in, and even today, just fantastic support across the board, and the fans came out and playing on the G. It's awesome.
You're half back, half forward, cracking in. You were shepherding. You seem to be everywhere today. Were you actually playing in a position, or were you just going wherever Stewie wanted to go?
Oh, no, definitely had a position. We had some system, and it's going to be hard to get a game, so everyone's got to be on. You can't have one off week, so just got to do your bit to keep in the side.
And the Hawks fans, they're starting to create a little bit of a cult figuring. I don't know whether you heard, but the Dew call went up a couple of times. Did you hear?
Yeah, I like it. It's good. It's good. It gets you going. It makes you. Doesn't make you want to kick short, that's for sure. So we'll see how we go.
And those forwards, the young fellas up front, they're pretty impressive lot, aren't they?
Yeah, certainly got some firepower there. When you're coming through the middle, you're just licking your lips at the talent down there, and they make us look good by taking those marks.
Mate, 25 goals, 25 possessions, I should say, 8 marks and a couple of goals. Well done.
Thanks, mate.
Stuart Dew, premiership player and a man of high character, coached by Alistair Clarkson at both Port Adelaide and Central Districts in South Australia. Alistair Clarkson knew what kind of person Stuart Dew was when Stuart Dew gave him the call and said, I want to make a comeback to AFL footy. Alistair Clarkson gave him that chance. He lost the weight, and he's been a great addition.
Well, you couldn't make a better start. I think the loss of weight is a continuing program, Dwayne, but you couldn't have made a better start than that. 25 possessions was superb. Jeff would be more than pleased with that. The Tassie Hawks have started the season in the best possible way.